We
Boom!
are live. Hello,
We are
everyone.
live.
Brandon Gaston in the Design Lounge. This is the Icons Edition. If you can't tell, I'm with Alessandro Munge, Studio Munge. I'm sure everyone that's in design that watches this already knows who you are. They're familiar with your work. But for those that don't know, that's tuning in for the first time, tell them who you are briefly and what it all is that you do.
I have no idea what I'm doing. No,
You're
look,
just playing in the sandbox, right? You're just in the sandbox all
I'm
day.
just playing in the sandbox. You may have heard that before from me, but we are just so blessed, Brandon, to be constantly playing in sandboxes. This has just been, I don't know, it's been an incredible journey. I'm just loving it every single day. Things have changed dramatically. The work, the staff, the structure, everything's just kind of falling into place. And you tend to do this after you've been in business for a while. You try to find that sweet spot
Mm-hmm.
and what resonates for you from your business perspective, where you want to go, how big you want to be, all of that stuff. But I've always fallen in love with the concept of design rather than just interior design or anything specific. I just love design, and there's so much about um, the world in which we're living right now, both in the world of design and the world of business and design, because both of those things matter to me. I think our clients always say to me, they always talked about to me, they always say, the interesting thing about working with you is that you don't really just think about the interiors. You're not thinking about just the aesthetics. You don't really care just about that, but you really care that the thing functions and it makes us money. And I think from
Totally.
hospitality to residential, to multi-res to whatever we're doing, I want to make sure that our clients are successful, because I think for me, success is really important. And why would I want it to just be selfishly for me when I want it to be just more like a community? And that's what we always say that in our office, that we don't really need a lot of clients. We just need the right clients. And right now I have to say that we've got the right clients. So I'm fired up.
I think you definitely have the right comments. If I look, like I said, going through seeing the projects you have going on, I think you mentioned it. The intersection of, evolution and maturity. I think I heard you say that. I think that must be, it kind of describes where you guys are at right now.
Yeah, and it happens, like in any business, when you're a young studio, and we support young studios whenever we have a new client come to us and they say, we really want you on this project, and we'll go through an interview process where I'll sometimes realize that the project is not right for us, be it too small, or maybe we're just not going to be a good fit because A, we're going to be too expensive for them, or B, we're just not going to be able to service them to what they need at this point in their career. So we always say, listen,
Absolutely.
you got to give the opportunity to a studio out there, someone who could really like take charge of us and be right beside you and give you the service that you need. Because in our business, that's what we are. We do service. We don't sell widgets. We don't sell pens or water. We just sell our service. So all clients deserve that kind of level of service, and you sometimes can get that with a smaller studio or a younger studio, and give them an opportunity to go out there and carve a legacy for themselves. So, and while I talk about the concept of legacy and how comfortable I am and where I'm going, but I still feel like I'm 5 years behind in my business. I always say that to myself. I'm 5 years
Yeah.
behind, 5 years behind, because it just kind of motivates me to stay focused and just fire up all the cylinders and just go go go. So
I love that. I love that. I can tell by the energy. Your energy is infectious. I remember when we met in Vancouver, and it was just like right on, like so much energy. I'll be curious to see where you guys are at in 2029, 2030. But I
yes.
want to go back, because again, you answer so many different ways I can take this conversation. But where I want to start is, where's the best place? I'm about to go there pretty soon. Where's the best place that people watch in Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas? Oh
Yes.
God. Well, I'll tell you where's a really cool place to people watch is in one of the venues we just finished up there called the Vault. Oh
Oh,
man, it
Bellagio.
is in the Bellagio. It's crazy. Like it's hidden. It truly is hidden right behind the blackjack tables. You got to find it. You got to know. You got to ask around. And when you're in there, it truly is an elevated speakeasy. It isn't contrived or thematic in any sense of the word. It is luxe, super high end. You're in there and you just feel special. And somebody's making you a cocktail, like it is on point. And I love it when you're flipping through a menu, it's like you're ordering, some sort of rare beef that doesn't exist on this planet because it says market price for a cocktail, right? It's like,
Okay.
what?
Yeah. What does that even mean?
What does that mean? What do you mean market price? What is that? So of course I order
Right.
one just to see what the hell that means. It wasn't understood. It was like whatever it was what it was. So it's just
It was
it,
market price. It was
it was
it was
market price. But I think
the
like
spirit.
Vegas has been a lot of fun. We've been out there a long time, and we've really kind of done a great job. I think I counted, we're almost like 15 or 16 or 17 venues out there. And what
Okay.
it's done is really like, there's people constantly talk about Vegas as being like, well, why would you go to Vegas? It's all cheesy and all that. That's not necessarily true, especially in the world
No.
of hospitality world. Like, you're doing the best restaurants, the best. We're working with Wolfgang Puck out there in the Four Seasons, So that's not cheesy. And we're
No.
working with Jose Andres as well. That's not cheesy. That's
Not at
amazing.
all.
So, and then we're working with like the likes of the MGM team, and these guys, they don't really call us to do any old restaurant down there. They're calling us for special places. They're calling us for places like the Vault, which you may have seen. That's
Hmm.
not normal to be able to do a project like that. That becomes very personal for the Bellagio and the MGM family. It's not about kind of cranking it out. They don't really care about advertising in it. It's not that. It's about creating something special that is catered to their guests, and that's where we fit that niche. We're not
Hmm.
we're not really fitting the niche of like just calling for anything. It's just call Alessandro for special things. And what it's also done for our business is really allow us to understand, I call them tribes, our team refers to
Hmm.
them as tribes, which is the level of design required for certain individuals. And I don't want to stereotype it that way much to say like someone who checks into, say, Treasure Island is just not the
Hmm.
same person that checks into the Bellagio or the Wynn. They're
Totally.
just not. And
That's
so
just
that
what it is.
it's just what it is. It's just like that's how we like craft our businesses, and that really makes a difference in how you approach design. And I've always philosophically believed that it's not just the same solution across the board. You look through our portfolio, there's never two projects alike. We finish a set of drawings, we finish a set of specification, we throw that stuff in the garbage and we start over, a fresh start. And it puts a lot of pressure on my team. A lot of people like might be intimidated by that or be afraid of becoming true designers. I mean, we're artists, for God's sakes, right? So why
Right.
not start like art with a blank piece of
Blank
paper, right?
canvas every time, right? A blank canvas every time.
That's to me like that's how I've always crafted it. And I think today we're starting to see that a lot of clients are really appreciating that, and they want us to, like, especially the large hospitality brands, they want us to help them and craft out something new in the hospitality world, something that is fresh and exciting, something that starts to set new trends, set new boundaries. Because after a certain period of time, if everybody's on the same chill pill of design, with the Aman
Hmm.
sort of chill pill of design, you don't realize it. But 5 years later, when this stuff is finally built, well, it all starts to look the same on year
Exactly.
5,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And so now you're in this world where everything starts to look the same, but everybody's designed it like 3 or 5 years ago. So there's sort of like this, you really do need to constantly, I think, stand your ground in terms of design, not do the same mundane stuff over and over and over. It doesn't push designers and their brains to think outside the box. I like the world of creativity, and I want my staff to be fired up with the most exciting things in their heads. I just want stuff that doesn't exist. I always say, put the
Absolutely.
Pinterest stuff down, put the Instagram stuff down, and just think, travel.
Just
Let's
just
travel.
go.
Yeah.
You see
So
things. Be inspired.
be inspired. That's right. So.
Absolutely. You graduated in 94, branched out on your own in 97. I know your mother was also an entrepreneur herself. Was
hmm.
this always your destiny? Did you always know, even the months when you were going to school, like, okay, I'm going to start my own thing, and what has now become Studio Munge? Like, was that always the plan?
I don't know if it was always a plan, but my brother came over this weekend. It's a funny story. And he started, like, I don't know, he got into this thing where he was going down memory lane, and he started showing me pictures of him and I, on our fourth birthday, our fifth birthday. And you'd see him in like sort of neutrals, right?
Okay.
And I was in
Okay.
print, prints, like patterns on patterns. And it's like almost like what you're wearing right now, right? But
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
in full on patterns, and I was looking at myself. My mother was having dinner with us. I said, "Mom, what is with this picture? How come Frank, my brother, is all on solids, and you got me dressed up like Gucci could be inspired by this right
Yeah.
now?"
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm like, I had pleated pants, like fancy pants, fancy top, all kind of different patterns on it. And I was like, "Mom, what the hell?" And I said, "You forced me into this world, didn't you? You forced me into this world."
Right. Right.
Uh,
She knew.
so
She knew. She just set it
she
up. She
knew,
set the
I don't know.
stage for you.
My
She
brother and I
knew.
had like a cool vest, a cool tie, white shirt, 3 years old, 4 years old. I'm like, "Mom, what is going on?" Like, I wasn't
Right.
myself, right? So
It's so funny you say that. So I have a photo of me as a kid, and of course, it's like Easter Sunday. My grandfather was a pastor, but anyways, that's a whole nother conversation. But in this photo, I saw, didn't know it. I have on like this powder blue like blazer,
Yeah.
and like these yellow trousers, like this pale yellow, almost banana colored trousers. And I'm like, okay. And I looked to me when I started like doing image consulting and switch shifting into design and media, and I had on a royal blue blazer, cobalt blue blazer, and these bright yellow trousers. And I'm like, this
Dude.
it must have been destiny. Like 25, 30 years later, I am wearing the same thing. So it
And you
must
know
have
what
moved
though?
somehow.
Not everybody could pull that stuff off, but you got it down, man.
You
You
know,
got it
that
down.
I appreciate that. I realize, it's like a superpower because I think anyone can pull it off, right? But it's also like, as talking about like the emotions of things, what you wear changes you. So for me, it's like if I want to, I work both ways. Like if I'm feeling down, I'll put something super vibrant that will make me feel up. Or if I'm entering a space, if I want to be more muted, I'll tone it down. But I just manipulate my moods based upon how I want to dress.
Did you dress
Um,
appropriately for today, knowing that we are going to have a great conversation? Because
I
you
did.
look like energy tonight.
I had to. I had no choice. I couldn't have wore something just plain. I was like, okay, I have to bring it. I knew I'm talking to Alexandra. I knew I have to bring it.
That's
So
all.
I got to tell you a story. I got to thank you. Talking about when we first met. So we met at Vancouver IDS, right?
Yeah.
Again, people that weren't there. Hey, you're coming off the main stage. I'm at the great stage. We have a conversation, and we're just like, it was like fireworks for a couple minutes. So, anyways, later on that evening, we go to Nightingale, your restaurant
Oh yeah, sure.
in Vancouver. We go there, and I kid you not, this is the first time I ever had honey on pizza.
Ooh.
From the States, I've never had it, right? So I'm having, and now it's become like a thing. Every time I go to Canada, I always have to have pizza with honey. But to your point, we were there, 7, IDS, you're there all day, 11. I don't know if we were there till 2 or 3 in the morning, but I know you've mentioned that in some of your talks. Whereas, like, your job is not only as a designer to have someone 7 to 9, but how do I extend it to 7 to 11, 7 to 2, 7 to 3 in the morning? When did you develop that perspective? Because I don't think that's something innate in every perspective where they're just thinking, okay, they want something to look pretty. They might want someone to feel an emotion, but they don't go to the extent of how do I keep someone's butt in the seats comfortably for 6 hours?
That's such a great, and that comes back to the concept of really understanding the business of what they even do. When somebody comes to our door, I need to. They often say to me, you haven't said much. You haven't said much. I said, I'm just listening. Just let me listen. I need to pretend to know your business as well as you know your business. I need to be
Mm-hmm.
immersed. And once you kind of set the framework and tell me the good and the bad, tell me what's not working in your business, and I'll come back to you with solutions. Because what I understand, it comes back to what we were talking about earlier, as silly as it seemed with the Vegas story, but you understand human behavior. You
Mm-hmm.
truly understand. I spent years in Las Vegas, never gambled a nickel in my life. In my life.
Okay.
Not even
Okay.
like there's a quarter, there's a nickel, nothing. Like zero, zero, zero. Still to today, never put a dollar on a table, never put a dollar in a machine. But what I did do is I people studied. I became
Exactly. I've heard.
obsessed.
I've heard about that. I've heard. You might your wife they hate it because you're just there looking at people and seeing how they interact with the space.
Like I'm a bit like it's like sometimes you'll see me say, "What the hell is he looking at?" And of course, I put on like this scowl on my face, like I'm focusing, and it looks like I'm pissed off. So, but I'm not. I'm just not. I'm
Yeah.
just truly understanding human behavior because people like blow my mind. Like they just their behavior, how they move through space, what their heads do, what their body language does, how their chest even comes up, like everything about them changes when they're in an environment. No different than what you were saying that you need to dress a particular way because you want to exude a certain type of emotion. Well, we can wrap that up in a three-dimensional space. We can have
Absolutely.
people almost walk through an outfit, and we can play. Like, I love it. I take a blank piece of paper. Sometimes my staff say, but why are you thinking like this? I don't know, because I know that when they land here, they're going to feel a particular thing, but I need them to chill as they're going through here, but then
Mm-hmm.
fire up when they get through here. And by the time they're out, they need to crave it again. They need to
Yeah.
crave it again. They need to crave it again. You just talked about having a memory, right? You're talking about honey on pizza. You were there for a while. You're talking about memories. But if you can create spaces where people can have memories, where we can attract them back, that's the world, the definition of hospitality and residential life. That's
Absolutely.
exactly what it is. And most people are trying to do that in offices to try to keep people in there these days, right? But if you can create that, which is not easy to do,
Mm-mm.
it's not formulaic in that sense. You got to study place, you got to study location, you got to understand their business. it's just a multiple faceted approach to it. And I think that kind of makes us a little bit individual because in many respects, you just can't figure us out, which is
Totally.
totally cool. Totally cool.
Right, right. You get
It's
something new
totally
every
cool.
time. And that's why you get the clients that you do. And it's interesting you say that because we've had this icons edition. And I had these conversations with designers of all aspects, right? And you start to see these similarities and characteristics, not necessarily in how they design, but the process and maybe how they think and how they look at design. And one of the things is I gleaned with some other ones is like, okay, it's more than just the design. You are actually a business person, an entrepreneur, a creative, all these things wrapped into one. And you're thinking about LTV. You're thinking about, hey, how do I create these different sight lines, these different experiences so that when I come to a restaurant, if I sit here, I'm going to feel one way. But if I want to feel another way, I'm going to sit at the bar. I'm going to sit this to where the restaurant. Whereas that's amazing for the hospitality company because now you're turning their customer that comes in once. Not only are they staying there for 5 or 6 hours, but they're coming there 3, 4, 5 times. Their LTV goes up dramatically just by how you design.
Yeah, and we actually had an amazing conversation a couple of weeks ago with a brand that I've been admiring for years and years and years and years. I can't really talk about who they are, but they have a sister brand that they've launched, and they talked about how their brand that's been established for decades is phenomenal, but now they're trying to do a sister brand to think about the next customer base, the next generation base, and to
Mm-hmm.
think about the kids that are part of that have been in this brand for years and years and years. And so now they created a sister brand where it's going to be a bit younger, but still the DNA of what the brand is live on. Well, what does that look like, right? And how do
Mm-hmm.
you know how to do that unless you A, have experienced it, A, you've paid attention, you paid attention
Exactly.
and you've immersed yourself in it. Like I'm constantly immersed into these sort of social type of ventures out there with our clients. I part of like the journey to me is when a client says to me, let's jump on a plane and let's go learn together. Like that's the
Right?
best. I love it. I love it. I was just up in like Austin, standing in some like tower overlooking this beautiful lake and like in the middle of the forest. And they were talking about, putting up a sales office in this building, in this office tower. And he was showing me down there and he kept pointing there. I said, dude, what's wrong with putting a sales office exactly where we're standing? Don't you feel what
Right.
the hell? He was talking about a bird coming across, the sunsets, and this. I said, but don't you want your clients to feel this stuff when you're like? So he goes, you're absolutely right.
You're
We're going to
right.
erect it right here. We're going to do it right here. I'm like, yeah, if you want to sell this stuff, of course, right?
What
Like that's what I'm
what's
saying. Just tap into that emotion. It's actually pretty simple. It's not that difficult.
you say that, and as you were saying that, I'm thinking, like you're a purveyor of emotion, right? Like, through the taste, through the senses and everything and how you design, you're a purveyor of emotion. And you love traveling. You go to places to have that experience, to get that feeling so that you can then recreate that feeling for everyone else. And that's what you did when you were in Austin, right? You went there, you were like, I have to feel it, I have to see it for myself, I have to understand it. Don't just tell me about it. I want to walk through it myself. And then from that allows me to then create that emotion for someone else.
It's the best advice I can give any designer, anybody who's starting out, anybody who's anywhere in their career. Travel, 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 travel. It is the best. I mean, my kids are out there enjoying the world themselves, and it's the best thing because it's how you get to see how other people live, and it's how you get to connect with other human beings, because that's really what our business is about, is connecting human spirit. It's about connecting people through space. It's our small job that we're contributing on this planet, is to
Yeah.
be able to do that. And if you could do that successfully, I mean, that's in a restaurant, if we're doing something for Jose Andres, we have like what, 2 3 hours to engage that person in his environment, right? Like that's not very
Yeah.
much time, right? So you
No.
really have to, like, I don't know. There's just such a psychology, and whether I realize it or not. I had this conversation with someone as well the other day, and they talked about how they listen to Tony Robbins. They listen to all these, like they read a lot of books on how to inspire them. They said, "Well, what are you reading? You must be reading some interesting stuff." I said, I don't really like to read things like that, because what happens is when I start to listen to it, the first quarter of it, I get turned off because I realize that I'm doing that.
Yeah.
And for me, it's organically, naturally happening. So I quickly put a book down. I quickly shut things off because I don't want to know. I don't want to know, because
You
I
will,
just
right?
like going with what feels right in my heart and just follow your gut. And I think following your gut in this business is really ultimately the success of any business, quite frankly. I think they called something there was a brand called Apple that followed their gut. I don't know if you know it,
Yeah,
Apple.
I think I might have heard of them. I might be even on it. You have a device around me or two,
Yeah,
but
there's
yeah,
some kind
yeah.
of advice out there. Yeah.
But that makes sense, like you said, because you aren't a formula guy, right? You don't want this formulaic way, and so, and again, you can by reading those books, and I read, but you can be put in a space where it's like, okay, now I'm following this process, right? This step by step process, as opposed to just organically navigating through the spaces or organically navigating through life, and like, you know what, this feels right, and almost, and that I think that even allows you to have the level of creativity you have because you don't have you're stripped away from these preconceived notions, right? Or these preconceived ideas. Oh, I could do it this way to follow this way to get to this track. It's like, no, I'm just going to feel whatever comes naturally. And that is the way we are going to navigate and move and make space. You talked about interviewing, the two-way interview process, right? It's not just the client interviewing you, you're actually interviewing them.
Yes.
Wrapping that into the success of the project, because I know it's about community, it's about creating jobs. How much does that play a role when you're thinking about working with someone? You're like, okay, not only is the interview whether it fits, but also I'm looking at, is your business plan, is this going to work? Is this in a space? Is the environment ready for this so that this is going to be a staple in time for the next 5 to 10 years, as opposed to just being a pretty place, but it's not going to generate the community around it?
That's good. We just about 2 or so years ago, um, we were almost like 70, 75 people,
Okay.
and we're doing work all over the place. The quantity of work was there, the financials were there, everything was there. And I went to see 2 or 3 projects of ours, and I just came back to the studio. I said, I'm cutting it off. No way. No bloody way. We went through this road of like, oh my God, you see all this money pouring in, and I shut that stuff down so hard, it was crazy. We went from like 70, 75 people down to like 45 people, like very fast.
Wow.
Very,
Okay.
very fast. And I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it because it really resonates in terms of what we want to do as a company, which is not about quantity, it's about quality. And we don't need everything. We just don't need everything. You just need to do the right work for the right clients, employ the right people that have the same passion and love that you have, that share that journey, that want to ride on that coattail with you, and they want to have the same kind of experience as you do because they want to challenge themselves. They don't want to do the same thing over and over and over. In my world, that's called insanity, right?
You're
It's just
right. Right.
like I
Yeah.
just don't like it. I don't like it, and I don't want anybody around me to feel like they want that. And if you do, come enjoy, but then you got to go. You got to go and
Yeah.
go explore the things that matter to you. Because in this world of our studio, we're surrounded by people that are like-minded, and our clients are attracted to that as such. So, yeah, I think that we'll contribute to the world of employment and the world of financial return through our clients' businesses. But I don't necessarily need it only in ours. We do really well as a result of it. Your fees go up because the quality of the work goes up. And it's
Hmm.
not like we're trying to gouge clients. It's just that, look, we're going to give you real value. And I, Alessandro, will be sitting at the table with you. I'm not going to pass you on to just everybody. And our clients really value that. They love the fact that I'm at the table with them. I'm at the
Yeah.
table with them during the most important parts, which is all that experience comes in the beginning of the project. And then my team is there with me. And then I have a phenomenal team here. And they just carry it, and they carry it, and they bring in their creativity juices, and they just carry it, and they do that so, so, so well. I'm so proud of the team that I have today. They're just phenomenal. So,
You love that. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
what I heard is that you have like an open space, like your office, where you work better, you function better almost in a collaborative spirit, right? Where everyone is around you and you're accessible. And that's just how you guys create.
Yes, I do. Like, oh, what's that?
I think I must have said a keyword, and all of a sudden I got
You
fireworks.
got
I must have,
fireworks there in the
that's what
background.
happens when you say the special words. You just get fireworks in the background. I want to ask. You have projects all over the world, right? Caribbean, New York, Toronto, all over Toronto, Vegas. You mentioned Vegas, California,
Asia, we're in the Middle East. We
Asia.
got work in Riyadh right now. We got a beautiful project in Riyadh right now with raffles.
Okay.
Uh, we got work in Asia and China, and I don't know. We're getting new calls for new countries that is blowing my head off, and we're getting noticed. And you're right, on islands as well. Like people are starting to and we're saying no to like so much work. It's crazy. I mean, I still think I'm nuts sometimes to like say to people. Unfortunately, I don't think we're the right fit. You're like, what are you talking about? I got the budgets. I got this. I got that. I'm like, yeah, I just don't think it's the right project for us.
What I wanted to ask though, Miami, a place I love.
You love Miami?
Why? I love Miami. Actually, so I've only been there a couple times. I went there years ago, and I was like, you know what? No, income taxes, water, international. That was before our Basel was as big as it is, but you still had all the New Yorkers, everyone come down internationally. Everyone comes there. I'm like, this is the place I'm going to live here someday. So I absolutely love Miami.
That's
But
awesome.
why it was that your second outpost again? Because you guys can go everywhere, anywhere. Why Miami for you guys opening
Good
up the
question. Yeah,
location?
we are we're signed up on leases. We're fitting out our interiors, our office there. I have way too much space than I need, but I have a super cool landlord who has this really killer. Like he's got a building that's been empty for 4 years. He doesn't need a tenant. He's got these two massive billboards on either side of his building, and he just doesn't care. He's got Piero Lissoni doing his 40,000 square foot house. He's like he just doesn't need it. But when we connected, he goes, "I need you to be I need you to be in this building with me." I'm like, "Okay, but I don't need all that. I don't need all that square
Right,
foot." He
right.
goes, "I don't care. I'll give it to you for half the cost of the square foot." And he put me in there, and we've got this really beautiful boutique building, only 5 floors. I'm the only tenant in there right now, which is amazing. It's brand new. It's been there for 4 years. He doesn't care about anybody else. He said, "I just want to put you in there and like-minded people. I want architects. I want contractors. I want really good brands and furniture brands. That's it. I don't need a lot of people." And I love it. And, Miami, the reason why we chose Miami is because, we had a choice of New York. We had a choice of other cities, but we have ramped up some good business in the islands and also in the Florida state and surrounding areas. And I just wanted to service those clients better. And we've
Yeah.
received nothing but phenomenal reviews as a result of from our clients. But Miami's like it's a little dangerous city too, because it's in many respects it's like a town. It's not like New York City. It's not like a big city. But I like the time zones. And here's the other thing I really like about Miami. You ready for this?
Okay. I'm
There's
sitting on the edge of my seat.
there's
I'm getting close
sun,
to the screen.
sun, dude. There is sun. There's sun,
Right. So you say that
and
so
there's
I'm
an
from the
ocean. By
Northwest.
the way, there's an
I'm
ocean too.
right, you get the best of both worlds. I'm from the Northwest. I'm from Portland, Oregon originally, right? So now I'm in Arizona. My father's still in Portland. I go back and I'm like, how was I able to live with these gray skies? Like, I don't mind the rain. I don't mind the seasons. I actually like layering. But how was I able to live in the gray skies all these years? And now that I'm here, I'm like, I couldn't live nowhere else. Like, I could visit, I could pop in, whatever, right? Anywhere I live, it needs to be sunny, unless it was like Europe or someplace like that where I could deal with it because it's just so beautiful. But other than that, like no, the sun absolutely. But you mentioned a couple projects like the Ritz Carlton residences, like Edgewater.
Yeah,
Expand on those and those projects that are going on because those are right now.
great projects. Working with the Ritz brand, right up our alley in terms of the luxury product. Working through the historical boards of Miami, which is a nightmare, but a necessary nightmare because they're trying to preserve history. They're trying to preserve, a legacy of what Miami's about with Art Deco and stuff. So I'm all on board. And so we've got our project is kind of like you go through the Sagamore Hotel, which is about 2 buildings from the Ritz Carlton, and then in the back, we call it the backyard, where the ocean is essentially towards the east. You have the Ritz Carlton's backyard together with the Sagamore's backyard, and they kind of conjoin together. And so then we put Kobe Carp put up a residential tower, the closest to the ocean that's there, and it's a super luxury project. The sales team, the client, they're all on the same page. We're about to open a sales office. Beautiful product out there, and we're really doing something that's different out there. And I think a lot of our clients and prospective clients are saying we just haven't seen stuff like this in the market. And I love the project. And it's like it's not a lot of units, but it's the right amount of units. And the client wants us. Like, we customized everything and really push the envelope on that. So that's a really cool project. I'm very excited about that. And we're also doing Addition in Edgewater. That one's really special because we were almost one of the first design firms to do their all residential work. No
Mm-hmm.
hotel connected to that. It's all residences. Phenomenal client again. I think Edgewater is on fire right now. It's going to be an incredible area, and the building's super cool, and with Architectonica, good friends, and the interiors are going to be like on point. I mean, you can see it online, right? I think the challenge there
Yeah.
was really trying to redefine that brand for residential, and not easy, because they
Yeah.
have a very clear legacy of what they've done, and and you're talking about an icon that has
Right.
built business. And so to be a part of that world, and there's a lot of phenomenal firms out there that have touched that brand, and we're just honored to have been part of that team. So.
I think that's probably part of the process, right? The fact that, like I think you've said before, good enough was never good enough for you. And so it seems like that's why you attract these brands. And I would imagine that's almost like a credo for the Studio Munge brand. My last question, what makes a Studio Munge design? What is the characteristics? What is the aspect of what you guys do that's different from everyone else?
It's like I guess other people tend to see this, and they always say there's always this kind of DNA. There's always this thread that they constantly see, and there is definitely a level of luxury and that sense of detailing in there. But I think the individuality, the fact that we're just simply not cookie cutter, we're just
Mm-hmm.
not, and we push the envelope and try to find the right solution. And sometimes that means being different and from one project to the next. And I love that sense of creativity that's required in order to get there. It is truly and authentically a creative process. It just isn't one where you say, well, this client already did this with us. It was successful. We only have 5 weeks to do this. Let's just bring in the same details and we'll just crank it out. We'll take our money and run. I just don't care about that. I just
Yeah.
want to create phenomenal work that makes good business sense for our clients and also resonates for us from a design perspective. And the more creative we can be, the better it's going to be. And some of the work, like I said to you, the ones that we have coming up and Nobu coming up, and you'll get to see that once that
Next month, next month.
next month. That's a phenomenal project. And there's so many amazing projects that we have out there that are just going to be, I think, game changers for us. I really do. I think you heard me say that we're always 5 years behind. I always think we're 5 years behind in my mind from a business perspective because it motivates me to go faster and stay focused, really. And I just think that this year and next year will be a game changer for us. But I think in the next 5 years, you just won't recognize us anymore. We'll have another conversation, but hopefully we won't wait that long, bud. Because
Hopefully not. I better not. If, got either one of these events, one of these locations, one of these openings. I got to make it there. Well, love what you're doing. I can't wait to see what's happening over the next month, let alone the next 5 years, the next 60 months. But you are absolutely an icon, and I thank you for
oh,
taking the time
thanks,
out
man.
this morning. Yeah, yeah. I can't wait to see what's next.
I appreciate you, man, very much. I really do. Thank you so much for even taking the time with me, and hopefully you're well. Yes,
Yes, yes. Everything is good on my end. Everything is good on
good,
my end. I'm
good.
gonna go. I'm gonna go work out now so I can be like you.
You're already late, buddy. Just like Mark Wahlberg talks about this all the time. He's got the 4 a.m. club, right? I got a 5
Yeah.
a.m. club.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm loving it. I've
Yeah.
got like an amazing gym downstairs here in the office. It's just super cool. It's about 3,000 square feet. Feels raw like the Fight Club, right? And it's
Okay.
awesome. Next time you're in town, you'll come up. You have to wake up 5 in the morning with me. We'll hit the gym together. We'll crush some weights. We'll get on the air bike and just kill ourselves. So, but I
Well,
warn you, you're gonna fall asleep after an hour of being done. So be careful.
I'm with that. I love it. I just started running again, so
Okay.
I just picked out my next half marathon in a couple months. I'm up at
Oh,
4:30 in the morning too. So let me know the invite. I will be there.
I would love for you next time. Like seriously, if you're ever in Toronto, even in the area, please. Even I'll have you stay at the house if you want. We got a great guest house there. You'd love it, and just come over. Like we'll hang out in the gym. We'll grab a bite to eat. Maybe some honey on some pizza, whatever you want.
Absolutely,
But we'll
absolutely.
think about the honey on pizza. I don't want the crowd to think that we do honey on pizza. You have to put on a gorgonzola. You have to kind of get the right pizza. So
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
quite honey on pizza. It's like we got to make sure there's a beauty to that pizza world. So we'll go to one of our clients and we'll nosh away. So
Love it, friend. Well, you have a
awesome.
great day, and I will see you soon.
You too, buddy. Take care.